Welcome to the evening review. You are joined by your Thursday host, Ashwin Mberi. And today we've got a special guest in studio, Mr. Marco Ndlovu, who is a sport analyst, sport journalist. Basically, he knows everything about sport, particularly the Namibian landscape. And today we're going to be digging in on what's really going on with Namibian football. Marco, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ashwin, and good evening to the viewers.
Good evening indeed. So, let's start light. Okay, Namibia World Cup qualifiers. These are good things. Unfortunately, the country couldn't make it to AFCON. There are some highlights of the year. You know, Peter Shadulile becoming the top goal scorer in the PSL League. All these things are admirable.
Yeah.
And none of that is happening in a Namibian stadium.
Yeah, Ash, I thought you said you were studying light. I thought you said you were studying light. It's very unfortunate that we have to talk about the negatives all the time. You know, Namibian football has so much positive stories to talk about. You spoke well about Peter Shadulile. He scored a hat-trick in his last match for the Brave Warriors. They are playing now, maybe as we speak. We also know that he became the top goal scorer in South Africa. A feat that has taken, I don't know how many years. I don't know when Siyabonga Nomvete last played.
Yes.
And everybody has come in. Nobody has managed to do that. And if you look at Southern Africa as a region, we have had the problem with strikers, scoring of goals, whether it's in South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique. We've had problems. We haven't had really a prolific striker that really scores goals. If you look at the national teams, Peter Shadulile is the top goal scorer in Namibia. I think he's at 22, 23 goals. In South Africa, Penny McCarthy is also in the 30-something of the goals. In Zimbabwe as well, it's Peter Ndlovu. When last did he play? He's still the top
He
goal
was
scorer.
the first African to play in the English Premier League, and he still has that record.
He still has the record. So we have, for him to achieve that in such circumstances says a lot about him. You go on to say that it's not happening anyway in our own country.
Yes, and you know, this is something we do have in common with Zimbabwe. You know, Namibia, Zimbabwe, we're not playing in our stadiums.
Swaziland.
Lesotho, Swaziland, exactly.
It's a sad state of affairs. You know, we must move on with times. This is what CAF and FIFA want. We must move on with times. We must bite that bullet and make sure that we build stadiums so that our teams can play here. We must, the government must play its role. Private sector must play its role. The football association people must also play their role. So this one, everybody has to be blamed to find ourselves at a situation where we are right now. I think it's something that can be corrected. It's not something that cannot be corrected, but it's something that be corrected. And we need to also make sure that we have people that are at FIFA, we have people that are at CAF, we have people that are at COSAFA. We must always think forward. We must always attend these meetings to hear what the discussions are about. I read today, CAF and FIFA have said that assistant coaches also now have to have either a CAF B or a CAF A license.
Oh, wow.
So what are we doing as a country? Already with that information, what are we doing now?
To comply.
They said if you're coaching the national team or any team that's participating in a CAF competition, you must have CAF A or CAF B. Wow. So as NFA, what is NFA doing now to say we must upgrade the qualifications of our coaches? Some of those things that we need to look at.
Absolutely. And we'll get back into the NFA, and we're going to have a lot to talk about with regards to that. But what you've been speaking about right now, essentially what you're highlighting, is also a lack of foresight. Because one has to ask, how did we get here? Did we get to a place where we thought the game wasn't evolving? Why did we stop building? How did we get here?
Ash, I wish I had answers to that question. Lack of foresight. I mean, I just mentioned that we have people at CAF. We just said the president of the NFA being voted, being put into a committee at FIFA. When these people go there, do they listen what the discussions are there? Do they come and report to the other people that we discussed this and this and this? Well, these things, nobody just wakes up today and says, today we want a stadium to be built like this. These are discussions that take place over a long period of time.
Yes.
So it's people whom we put in these positions. Do they have the interest of football at heart? I'm sure before FIFA and CAF came up with the stadium issues, a lot of things had been seen. And I can tell you what had happened. It was the incident of tickets, overselling tickets at stadiums, especially those that don't have bucket seats. People would say oversell those tickets, and then there will be a stampede, and people will lose their lives. And then FIFA said to avoid overselling of these tickets and stampedes, let's number the chairs, and everybody sit on the chair where they are numbered, so that even if there's anything that happens, we know, like in a plane, we will know that Ashwin was sitting on seat number what, Marco was sitting on seat number what. So that's where it started from. It did not start now. It started a long time ago. But were the people that were going to those meetings coming back to tell us about that. So it's not about lack of foresight, because these things are discussed at the high echelons of football of football management.
So lack of implementation.
So it's lack of people. It's the lack of love for the game for the people that go to those positions. They don't really come back and report that FIFA is thinking about doing this. Let's already also think of how we are going to counter it.
So is it like people are seeing football more of as a business, not for the fact that it is a social good, community driver, and we know it's good business when it comes nationally, and we'll get into that when it comes to that. But are people just getting into these roles and just focusing on the paycheck?
Yes. That's one of the things that people do. We have seen a lot of people come into football to depend on football. You find somebody starting a football club so that they can get money from the football club instead of investing into football.
Yes.
If you look at a country like Australia or Jamaica, sports play is in the top 5 of their GDP. You will find there is your mining, there is your education, there is your what is, but sports is there.
It's right there.
Yes, because they see that sports can actually drive an economy.
Yes.
But in our instance, we don't see that sports can drive an economy.
Yeah.
We don't really take sports seriously as Africa to say sports can. We don't know anything about sports tourism. We can't link sports to education or sports to business or sports to anything.
We're still treating it like a hobby.
So yeah, it's a hobby to us. For most of us, it's a hobby. It's people have clubs because they want to have something to
prestige.
Yeah, for prestige.
Prestige, yes.
Whether it's football or rugby or whatever.
Yeah.
If you look at the monies that are being counted in South Africa, I think I sent you something.
Yes, we'll talk about it earlier.
So if you look at the value of the South African rugby at this point in time, it's into billions.
Oh yes,
that's how much it goes in from primary school, high school, club level, the Springboks and the franchises. Yes. It's into billions, and that billions, the number of people that it supports.
Yeah, wow,
it's
incredible.
It's incredible. If in Namibia, what is the value of the Namibian football?
We don't know.
Nobody knows, and nobody has thought about evaluating that. Nobody has thought about evaluating that to say, let's evaluate Namibian football and say our football is worth 500 million. When we go and look for sponsorship, we look for 500 million, which is going to cover the value of football in Namibia. Yeah.
Yes.
We can develop school fields. If you go to all the schools here, before independence, the grass was always green. It was always painted. They had proper nets, they had proper goalposts, they had proper places where people could sit. They had proper toilets, they had proper everything. But if you go to all these schools, a few of them still have that
very few.
That green grass.
Yes. The private schools will be fine, but
it's not maintained. Why? Because we don't know the value of that field, and when budgets are made, it's not considered.
Yes,
it's an afterthought. If there's money, yes, we'll water the field. But back then, people drill balls. There are a lot of balls that were drills in these schools, and one part got broken. They stopped repairing it.
That was the end of it.
That was the end of it. Now the grass cannot be watered.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things that comes when we talk about sports, how we take it as a country. Do we take it serious or we don't take it serious?
So there's a restructuring of infrastructure that needs to happen. Restructuring, rebuilding, starting to build. But at the same time, it seems like you're alluding to a restructuring of our mentality towards football.
You should start
the
from there.
way we are thinking about football is not sustainable.
Yes, not only football, but sports.
Sports in general.
Yes.
No, definitely.
We should start restructuring our mindset on how we view sports. Like I said, there's sports tourism.
Yes.
How much can it bring into a country? If you look at South Africa, they say it's the best World Cup that was ever hosted by FIFA. And why are they saying that? It's because of the revenue that it generated in that year. It's still, I think, number one in terms of revenue generation.
Yeah.
And there are still things that you can see that came from that World Cup.
Without a doubt.
Look at how many stadiums they have. They have about 15, 16 stadiums that are FIFA standard.
Yes.
So if you ask South Africa to host any tournament now, they can do that.
100%. I mean, they're hosting us.
Not only us, they host about 4 or 5 countries.
Yes, without a doubt. Yeah. So when you talk about, football tourism, you think about opportunities like currently Peter Shalulile being so beloved in South Africa. You'd assume that there's a natural alignment that would happen with, for example, just as an example, tourism board, Peter Shalulile trying to get more South Africans to come here because they love him. And we do this all the time as human beings. A certain figure gets you interested in a country, how they are there, it gets you attached to the country. Now, if we're put Peter to the side, if we've got a brand that we value, that we are pushing, that's just,
you see, that's why
so
I said
much.
that's why the mentality comes in now.
Yeah.
The people at the Namibia Tourism Board, well, how can they use Peter Shalulile? How can they benefit from him, and how can he benefit from them? Make him their ambassador.
Yes.
Let him promote all these places. Shoot videos with them in Etosha and where.
Definitely.
We had fires in Etosha right now. You could be the person who's driving the narrative to say no. Yes, the animals died, but not all of them.
Yes.
We see how it's going online when people are saying Etosha is done.
People go to the far extremes. And
but you need a person like Peter, and then they take him there, and you shoot the video and you put it online, you put it everywhere.
Yeah, and more importantly, you need more Peters.
You need more Peters. That's very true.
All right.
So it's if we take a look at Formula One, I don't know if you watch Formula One.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, Formula One, they go into a country for 1 week.
Yes.
Let's say they are in Azerbaijan. They go there for 1 week in Baku. It's the Baku weekend. It's a 2 billion euro industry in 1 week.
Wow.
They spend 2 billion euros in 1 week. They will fly in on a Tuesday or Monday, and they fly out on a Monday or Tuesday the following week. They have spent 2 billion. They've left 2 billion in that economy.
You know what? Let's go for a break before we get accused of dreaming too big. We're going to take a quick break before we return, and we talk about what's happening with the Football Association and the delay of the league. So I'm here with Marco Ndlovu, sport analyst, and we're talking about the state of football in Namibia. And of course, we're still touching on the region because, it's Africa. We are interconnected. Now, before we start talking about what's happening with Namibia's Football Association and the league and its delay, one of the things that struck up to me was I was looking at this guy called, I think his name is Hiccup. He's an American-Canadian who went and he bought a 4th division team in Kenya. And that's his brand now. He's now just devoted to getting this football team going up and up, and he's starting in the 4th division. A lot of people would go for the prestigious things, you know what I mean? Try buy a club that's already as close to the top as possible, of which there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a certain sincerity in such an investment, which I think us as Africans, we need to take on more, as opposed to just acquiring clubs for prestige. And when the glitter fades, we sit back and relax and we kick our feet whilst our sport comes down to the ground. Now, coming back to Namibia, what's your assessment of what's going on with the league?
I think our league could be far away at this point in time, after all these years of independence, after all these years of the achievements that the Namibian football has come through. Our league should be competing to be one of the best in Africa, in terms of its competitiveness, in terms of the quality of players that it produces, the talent. The talent is there.
Yes,
there is no doubt about that. Natural talent in Namibia is there.
Yes.
You can't take that away. In terms of the salaries that the players are being paid, in terms of it being an attraction to the sponsors, it could be far away, but it's not there. It's simply because a lot of things have lagged, and one of them is administration. Number two, I think what is lagged is the will from the upper powers, maybe government, to say, let's make sports our number one priority. I'm happy that the current government is doing that.
Definitely. We saw those people who've been contracted to fix the stadium.
Yes. And the deputy minister there, he's a former footballer himself. He's a former coach. He's a former club administrator. Now he's the deputy minister. He understands. And I'm hoping, and I know he's capable.
Honorable Dino Balotti,
yes. I think he's capable. I know he's capable of of really making a lasting impression. But he needs support, and that support needs to come from the top and the bottom. And by the top and the bottom and the sides, I mean, he will need the support from government that is at the top, and then the bottom, it's us, the general public. We must support them, and then from the side is the sports federations like your NFA. So coming to the issue of football and clubs, I should not go and buy a club because I have money to buy a club. I should have a vision. What is the aim? Is it for me to make money? Or it's for me to create employment for people? Or it's for me to leave a lasting legacy? If I want to make money and run it as a business, that's a separate case that can be discussed on the other time. But if you look at places like Germany, clubs like Bayern Munich, they established way back, and they're still there because the community owns them. It's something that brings communities together. It builds communities. Communities are identified by Bayern Munich. They identify themselves with that brand of Bayern Munich. So if we have that mentality, our clubs will last longer. But the moment we divert and start running clubs to feed our personal egos, to sort of make sure that you are bigger than the club. It's more Marco than Marco FC. Then it becomes a problem.
In Zimbabwe, we know of a club that's literally named after a person.
That's not a sustainable project. For me, it's not a sustainable project. How many businesses have individuals started and they failed? And if that person, God forbid, if that person dies today, what happens to the club?
Because everything is embedded in it. So what's happening with our league right now?
So with our league right now, the NFA has come out and said we are going to start the league that is on the second or third week of October. After the internationals, all the leagues in the country will start. Women, first division, Premier League, second division, and third division.
But we're starting late.
We're starting very late because of the issues of money. There was no money. Even as we are starting, we only know of the 10 million that the government has availed. That's the money that we're going to start with. The rest of the money, they are still negotiating with sponsors to come on board to give us that money. And I think, yes, it's good we are starting football, but is it sustainable?
Is it sustainable?
I don't think it's sustainable. I think we missed an opportunity when Deb Marine came and said, we will give you money as long as you have professionalized. I think what we should have done at that particular moment in time was to go and look for experts and get quotations from experts to say, Chief, here we want to professionalize our leagues. Please help us in terms of the policies, setting up the leagues and putting up the value of our league and put into consideration the distances between the towns when you travel, the accommodation. If we have to go to Walvis Bay 3 times, how much are we going to pay there for accommodation as compared to if you go to Vambuland or if you go to the south or if you go to Hobabis? Because the prices are different, the food and everything. So we have that, we know that this is the value of our league. So that expert will then come in and draw us the value, draw us the budgets and approach relevant companies to sponsor that particular league. But instead, we went toe to toe with Deb Marine. And we missed that opportunity to use Deb Marine. We could have taken that, we could have asked for money from Deb Marine to bring that expect to us. South Africa did it. In the 90s, South African football was not professional. But then they brought in Trevor Phillips and he professionalized that league. Players were earning less than $2,000 in South Africa in 1994, 92, 93, 94. But when Trevor Phillips came, now players are earning, we hear 300, 400, 500,000.
Shasha's got a very nice car.
Because they professionalized their leagues. They went and brought a British guy to come and change everything for them. We should do the same.
We should do the same. I couldn't agree more because, I mean, it's been feeling very empty to not be able to support the local clubs that we love. It's always good to have the Brave Warriors and fantastic. No guarantee that we're even at this stage, but it's great that they're there. But, you know, all the times as Africans, we always find ourselves in a state of perpetual duality, whereby we have this English club that we love to death. And then you've got this local club that you know in your heart of hearts, you can never separate yourself from. And that local club is something that you're always paying attention to, even if it's just in the periphery. And the other clubs started going. And we are seeing Peter Shalulile, a Namibian, succeeding in South Africa because the league is happening. Things are happening. And it's been heartbreaking not to be able to see our guys step up on the field every weekend because they're not just a part of our community construct, they are part of our social lives. Everything is defined around, you know, these guys as well and, you know, how they play, who they are, the legends are born here. People saw Peter Shalulile come from a mile away before he got where he got.
But you know why you love this club in Europe so much? It gives you what the local clubs is not giving you. There's consistency. You know that in the second week of August, you will be watching your favorite club.
And we are going for 38 weeks.
Yes, and they will go for 38 weeks playing. And you will know that they will give you the information to say, we have signed who, we have signed who. They are there. They are in your face.
Yes.
But our local clubs are not there. Our local football is not there. Even the NFA is not there. The Brave Warriors are in Liberia right now. There's nothing that we know about it.
Yes.
You understand? When was the last time the NFA, the president of the NFA, or addressed a press conference to tell us about anything football related?
It's been a
There's
while.
nothing that is there. But I know about what's happening in England. Only simply because they are using the media.
Yes.
You understand? And talking about the media, the rights, the broadcasting rights.
Yes.
There are matches. Why are you guys not broadcasting the matches?
100%.
Why is it that NBC is not broadcasting the matches? That's where they can get the money from, through advertisers. Companies would want to associate themselves with a brand that they know that it will give them mileage. And where's the mileage?
Now, on that point, us as media, we're going to rest on your previous point, whereby we're also not going to show up if it's not professional. That's just how we are as well, because we also have something to give to the viewers. Now, that's why it's so important to have this foundation where you have a league that is professional, that people are getting paid, that we can trust that if there's a game, we show up to a game. I mean, how many times have we had a game get cancelled? You know what I mean? For all sorts of reasons, you know what I mean? And us, we have a schedule. We've put the schedule. We're expecting to see African Stars versus Chula Chula at 7. Nothing can go wrong. But I'm with you in the sense that 100% media has to support without a doubt. But I'm saying that perhaps the hesitation is also coming from the facts that you are outlining right now.
Yeah, it all boils back again to professionalism. We have to come back and professionalize our league. If it's professional and we have binding contracts, if I sign a contract with you to say you are going to broadcast my matches and you give, I like the thing that I gave you.
Yes.
If I'm saying you are going to broadcast 20 matches a season, and from those 20 matches a season, you are going to pay me 10 million.
Yes.
And that 10 million is shared amongst the clubs.
Yeah.
The clubs will survive.
Absolutely.
The clubs will be professional. There won't be a club telling you that we are not traveling to a Shoge Chula Chula to play football because you don't have a car. We have given you 10 million. What's stopping you from
What's
traveling?
stopping you? Everything is in place.
Everything is in place.
And it's very important that we do talk about some of those numbers. We're talking, what you showed me was the revenue numbers.
Yes.
Revenue numbers for PSL League in South Africa. PSL, just over 1.3 billion.
Yes.
For rugby, just over 1.5 billion. Cricket, 1.9 billion. But coming to the football, 1.3 billion. We don't have as many people as South Africa, fair and fine. But I'm sure we're in the hundreds of millions if we were to do this valuation and to professionalize the way that we are meant to. So if you were to give, as we wrap up, and said we have to go and we have a lot to talk about, my brother. But if you were to give one solid piece of advice to the NFA, to the quote-unquote powers that be, and if you were told right now, Marco, save Namibian football with this advice, what are you saying?
I would ask them to bring in professionals to come and professionalize our sports in general, because even our sports act it's demakar, to put it lightly. Our boxing act, it's outdated. It still speaks to a lot of things that are old. All the acts that are running our sports entities, they are very bad. So we need to start from them. And also we need to have in our constitution sort of clauses that give incentives to companies to be attracted to sports.
Yes.
In South Africa in 2018, I was invited by Nedbank Namibia to watch the Nedbank Cup final. What they told me was that companies are queuing to sponsor sports in that country. Yeah, they wait. If Ashwin PTY doesn't want to sponsor rugby, they all want to go there.
They're all there.
Simply because they're incentives. So we need also from maybe the Minister of Finance or the Minister of Industries to have those incentives. And so that we can have a professional league. And when we get that professional league, we are able to spend money in a professional league, knowing that people are paying tax, knowing that people have got medical aid, knowing that people are supporting families, knowing that it's employment creation.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a lot. We need more time than this, but yeah, it's a lot that we can talk about.
Yes, there's a Latin saying which says "tot facienda parum factum," so little done, so much to do. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.
All right, that's been Marco Ndlovu, sport analyst, talking us through what we need to do in Namibia to get the league going and most importantly, keeping it sustainable.